Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More. We're back at the Depot and Aplex I recently bought, and we have some really interesting stuff to go over today. One, we have 100% confirmation it used to be the old train depot. Now, due to some old newspaper articles that talk about this property and show it being in a fire. So we'll show you some pictures, the article, and it gives us some dates too on when it was actually turned into apartments from the train depot. And then we're also going to go through and see if we can find any of that old fire damage. And finally, we're going to see how the progress is looking on the remodel, because I'm getting a little worried about this crew and how they're working on this property. And this is a big property that's going to take a lot of work. So if we have a crew who's not working very much, that could mean problems. Now, I'll show you on the inside. That window was painted, but I was just curious if this building looked the same as it does in the pictures, and I think it pretty much does. And we'll show you the train depot picture too, which I actually got, and very crazy where it came from. But that kind of shows, and we showed it before some too, a hole in the roof where they had an antenna going through right there. That's the picture. And I got this picture from Australia, if you can believe that. I found it online. Found it for sale for like $5, bought it, and it came to me, and it was shipped from, yes, Australia, of all places. This train depot in Alt, Colorado came from there. Not sure how it got there, but it was there. And something else that's been real confusing with people is the train depot just looks so, or the apartments look so big, and I think the train depot looks so small. Well, I think it's just a massively tall building. So you look at that shed, there's kind of like an old wagon, I don't know if that's a train car, to the right. They look tiny compared to the train depot, and I think it's just very tall, and so its scale is off because the windows are big, the door might be big, everything is just big about it. And if it was a normal height building, it would look way smaller than what we have, but I think it's just really big. And I could not make out what that said underneath. I was trying to figure that out, but this has been covered up now, you know, where the wood would have been. Be cool to find that. But for right now, this is what that one side looked like. And this is the other side, which is kind of the freight side, we think, which is actually longer than the other side. I just realized that today too. So you can see there's no windows on that side, just doors. The floors were different. Everything lines up that this is the train depot. And we found the attic before as well. And I'm going to pull up that footage. I didn't go up there again today, but I'm going to pull up that footage and see if there's any signs of fire damage up there, because the article said there could have been. And this happened a long time ago. And still pretty interesting, pretty crazy that this was found. And I want to thank one of my YouTube viewers who found this, because I didn't. I looked through my newspapers.com account, looked for all kinds of information on the depot, found some mentions of the train depot, but someone actually found this article in the Greeley Tribune from 1975 showing it. And then I got a better picture from my local museum. I've talked to them about a number of different things. They found a better one for me, which was pretty cool too. And you can see it's the same building. Looks almost exactly the same 50 years ago, almost, as it does 49 years ago, as it does today. So that's interesting. I'm sure the roof is a little different and some other stuff is different. But no, this was a pretty crazy find. And in the article, it definitely says this was the old train depot that was moved over here. And so this is what it says. Fire heavily damages Alt apartment house. An early morning fire Friday at an apartment house here caused several $1,000s damage, according to firemen. The fire was located in the Max Venn apartments on the east side of Alt. The building is the old Alt Railroad Depot and was remodeled into the 6-apartment building last year. The fire started in a ground-level apartment on the south end of the building, firemen said. The occupant of the apartment, who was not identified, told firemen he was awakened by the smoke and found the fire burning at the rear of the apartment. He attempted to fight the blaze for several minutes, but then decided to leave the building. He ran from the house wrapped in a blanket, firemen said, and all the clothing and other belongings were destroyed in the fire. Although firemen were able to contain the blaze to the south end of the building, the entire apartment house was heavily smoke damaged. Fire also spread to the other apartments by burning through into the attic. Firemen fought the fire for 2 hours, hampered because the fire was burning inside the walls of the building. Several versions were given concerning how the fire began. One fireman said it was because of electrical wiring, another said it was a gas heater, and the third said the fire started because of a cigarette on the couch. The actual cause and the total damage from the fire will be determined later, Fire Chief Les Cogswell said. So I never found any more articles, but I'm thinking I didn't find this one because it said railroad depot, and I kept searching for train depot. And now that I think of that, I wonder if I could find more stuff if I were to search for railroad depot instead. So here is the better, clearer version of the Tribune, the Greeley Tribune article, and you can see the property a little better. And we'll zoom in even closer here, and you can see it had the same stucco, kind of the same siding. It looks like the same stairs. Pretty much the whole building was the same as when it had this fire. So I'm not sure if a whole lot of reconstruction was done. Maybe on the inside there was some done. It'd be nice if we could find some other pictures because we could see if there was maybe more damage to the front. It's just hard to tell. Hard to know how serious the fire was as well. It said smoke damage throughout the building. It spread to the attic, but that can happen with a small fire as well. Smoke damage is very easy to occur, very common if you have any kind of fire in a building. Look at this. I searched for Railroad Depot instead, and this popped up first. Alt Railroad Depot moved. The Railroad Depot in Alt served the town for nearly 75 years. The depot was closed down a little over a year ago and was lifted from its foundation this week. The depot was moved a few blocks away where it will begin a new life as an apartment building. And there it is. Thursday, February 1st, 1973. Right in the time frame we thought it would have happened. So that's pretty crazy. Okay, I found another mention of it. The population here may continue to grow rapidly if the new construction presently underway is any indication. There are presently 3 new homes under construction here, one of which is nearing completion now. Sources indicate that 2 additional homes will be under construction in the next few weeks, weather permitting. In addition to single-family developments, a new 8-unit apartment complex is under construction. The building, which formerly served as a railroad depot here for more than 70 years, was moved recently to its present site in the eastern portion of town. The building will contain 8 one-bedroom units when completed. There was no indication of the rental schedule. So I think we've officially confirmed this is the old alt train / railroad depot. Now, can we confirm if any work is being done here to make these properties livable again? We'll have a link to the video when I first bought it. This was rough. There were cockroaches all over. The units were extremely dirty. 7 of them were occupied. They sort of paid rent, sort of didn't pay rent. No deposits, no leases, and we offered them all a couple of free months rent, told them their leases were not going to be renewed, and we actually had no issues with that. They all moved out, and we got possession of the property a couple months ago. We've done some work here, as you can see, but I was a little disappointed that I didn't see more going on, and that kind of happened the last time I was here as well. And this is a contractor we've used for many years. But sometimes it doesn't go as well as we hoped, and sometimes it goes much slower than we hoped. And a lot of our other contractors are very busy on flips and other stuff we're working on right now. So we thought we'd give them, a chance with this one. And so far, I'm not super excited with how fast it's going. Now, there's a lot to be done here. I understand that. But we're also kind of specific on hey, let's work on getting 1 unit all the way done. Like, we want to get 1 unit done at a time. That's kind of how we did the complex, if you remember that property. And that allows us to get one done, get it rented, work on others. And I know there's some stuff we have to do now to the whole building, which we're doing. But there's a lot of work that could be done right now that really isn't getting done, because those windows were already in a couple of weeks ago. And I feel like this unit looked exactly the same a couple of weeks ago, and that's kind of how all the units look right now. So that's a little worrisome to me on how things are going. I also, whenever I go here, it seems like the crew is sitting outside having lunch, and maybe that's just because that's the time I come. But it also seems ironic that every time I come, no matter what time it is, it seems they're having lunch. And then today, there was just one person here. Actually, 2, and someone who isn't normally here, but I know them from their crew, And then they left and left the other person just here with no car and, not sure exactly what they were doing or what's going on. And I don't question how a crew is run. They're contractors. They're not my employees. If work's getting done and progress is being made. But if it's not getting done very well, then I start to wonder what's happening and what we can do to make things go a little quicker. This is the middle part of the property. So, again, like maybe some drywall work was done in here. There's tools everywhere. Like, there's so much stuff all around. But, tools don't do the work unless there's someone to operate them. Yeah, so I guess we'll have to talk to them and see what's going on, what the plan is, because right now it doesn't seem like a lot is going on. I know Nikki and I had designed some kitchens the last time, and I'll have to check and see if they got ordered or if they're in progress, what's going on. Just the half the windows are put in, right? And like we're not sure where the other half the windows are or if they got ordered yet. So we'll have to check on all of that. This is the side that was kind of the freight side. That was the person leaving who I was just talking about. And you can see the different floor. We figured that out a couple of videos ago too. So again, with help from the YouTube viewers. So I thank you guys who comment and let us know what you think and what you think is going on with this building, because that's been a huge help. This would be maybe where some of the fire damage was below this. I'm not sure. And there's definitely signs of fire damage in one part of it too. But I think that was newer. I think that was something different. So this property has had its fair share of history, that's for sure. Operating as a train depot for 75 years and being moved, then having a fire a couple of years later, later on possibly having another fire, all kinds of stuff going on with it. So, and if the fire went through the attic, it would have had to go through these walls from the lower level. And you can see, like, that could definitely be some signs of it, right? And down there, is that signs of it too? Maybe. Or it's water damage. That's what's tricky, because after 50 years, water damage and fire damage might look kind of similar. So it's hard to say. I definitely don't smell any smoke or any signs of that. Again, after 50 years, you would hope you still wouldn't smell that. But no, it was kind of crazy to see us in a fire. I had no idea until the viewer had shared that link. So thank you. And they actually didn't share the link. Links are really hard to share on YouTube. YouTube usually deletes those comments. But they shared the article word for word. And I was able to copy and paste that and then find the newspapers.com article, backtrack it that way. So thank you for that. So again, this is in the lower area, in the middle, and yeah, just not as much being done as I hoped. I might have to go back and look through my last video and see what things looked like. Maybe there's a ton of work being done and I just don't remember it well. But yeah, this is a property that we want to get going on and get moving because it ties up a whole lot of money. And if there's no rent coming in, that makes it a very, very expensive property to own. Where if we can get some units fixed, just, especially on one side of the building so you're not disturbing them a bunch. I wonder what that said right there. I might have to go back and see what that word was. I think it just said panel for something for electrical, so nothing too exciting. Something else I noticed on one side of this building too is that a lot of the depot part, the part that was stuck on top of this other building, so they built this kind of bottom cinder block section, stuck the depot on top of it, had kind of a bunch of gray paint underneath it. And I was going to look at the other side to see if it had it too, or if it's just on this side, because I'm wondering, like right there, you can see it too. And this isn't part of the depot. The depot is on top, and this is the bottom part, but you can see all that gray paint there. So I'm wondering, is that more damage? If they had painted some of the fire damage gray or killed it or something, and then some of it was new. Again, is that fire damage? Is that water damage? it's really hard to tell and say what exactly is going on here. Could that be kills because of mold from water? And you never know. There's just so many things going on here. It's hard to say what happened. Now here, we've shown this before when I first bought it, is definite obvious fire damage, but I was pretty sure this occurred more recently. You can see up there, I think they had a boiler that burned just this room a little bit, and they replaced all the boilers and water heaters and everything, but they didn't really clean up this room, as you can see. Now I tried to go through my emails and texts and see if I could find out, because I did ask about that. I asked the agent about that, and he told me, and I kind of was in line with what I was thinking. But I think it was a completely different incident than the 1975 fire. So, I mean, I guess I've got a property that had 2 fires in it. Is that a bad omen? I'm not sure. And over here, you know, again, not much has been done over here at all. We still haven't done about a demo, everything, or windows. And I can understand, hey, yeah, if we're trying to do one apartment at a time, we don't need to do a lot over here. But then I'm like, well, not much is getting done on the other apartments. It doesn't look like either. So I'd like to see something getting done somewhere. Again, possible fire damage or possible wood rot. Hard to say. And, you know, is that plywood there because other stuff burned? Who knows? So, interesting property for sure, but it's just so hard to know what all this is from. That light is beautiful. I think we'll leave that. No, just kidding. Again, another part that's kind of painted. So I don't know. It's a mystery. Again, if people have ideas or thoughts on what's going on here, I would love to hear them. And we'll check the upstairs here too. This would be the side of the building where we thought the fire occurred. I have to zoom in to use my flashlight on my camera, so that's why I zoom in and zoom out sometimes. So here's where the picture was taken for the Tribune, showing the ladder going up that side of the building, and the staircase is right there. And it's not a perfect picture, so you know it's hard to tell if there's smoke damage or any fire damage or just shadows and the oldness of the picture that we're looking at. Obviously, I mean, it looks like they have the exact same stucco, the exact same siding on front, so it wasn't that serious of a fire that they had to rebuild the outside of it. It doesn't look like. A little bit of stucco missing there. And then I was trying to figure this out. That's stucco up top. They're kind of hollow. But these are real. They're either bricks or stamped concrete, and up there is stucco. So they did some interesting stuff with their construction and styles here. A mix and match of 2 buildings put together. Okay, we'll go up to the final unit and see if there's any signs of fire damage up there. These are a little harder to see though too, because we have less demo done and most of the walls are still intact, so we can't see quite as much. But maybe we'll be able to see in the floor. Who knows? Said we still have a fridge here. Don't know why. We're definitely not keeping that. We're not keeping any of the fridges. That was where the roaches lived. The Roach Motel definitely involves fridges. And so, yeah, up here you can't really see much. You have that window that's been painted over. And I thought, man, they wouldn't have painted over the window because of, like, smoke damage, would they, from that long ago? But it certainly didn't look like it. It looked like it was clear whenever they painted over it the broken window. So weird that they did that. And obviously they would have rebuilt quite a bit of stuff. So yeah, there's just no real signs in here of smoke damage or fire damage. So we still have one more thing to look at, and that is my attic footage to see if there was anything up there that we could see. And I didn't crawl up there or crawl through the whole thing, but I did try and get as big of a view and as many pictures as I could from my viewpoint here. So this is from a few weeks ago. And you just see black. That's it. And I could have brought, if I would have known what I was really looking for that far away, I would have brought a more powerful flashlight with me. But at the time, I did not know. And you can see rafters. They look pretty old. I don't see... Is that smoke damage or is that just a shadow over there? Did they kill some of those? This is that a little bit of smoke damage at the end there? There's a weird antenna. Oh, it's hard to say. I guess I was just lazy and didn't want to go back up there again. But I don't think I have a real powerful flashlight with me either, so that wouldn't have helped anyway. I have some somewhere, but... So we're looking at the north side now. That's where the fire was not. This was the office side, the wrong side of the building. But smoke, it looks like there's a little bit of discoloration on the walls from smoke. But again, hard to say. And you did notice on this other side over here too, like the ceiling is missing. I didn't know if that's because it was the freight side and they just didn't have a ceiling, or is that because of the fire and smoke damage they took out that part of the ceiling. That could be it too. So who knows? There's all kinds of questions and mostly just lots of questions about what happened here. Yeah. I tried to turn that light on and it did not work. That would have given us some more light. But at some point in the future, maybe I will be an explorer and go up there again. And maybe I will even get up in there and walk over to the other side of the building, taking care not to fall through the ceiling when doing that. All right, that's the property. That's our update. Hopefully things move a little bit quicker. And this is from that other video too, when I showed where the old depot used to be located, which was right here. And you could see in my original picture, that's the old Dick's Tavern that I bought a few years ago and sold and is now a cannabis, was it High Plains strained? I think that's what it's called, cellar. And this is where the depot used to be. So yeah, this is the old bar, Dick's Tavern, that I bought. Wanted to make a laundromat, was way too expensive to build one from scratch, and they wanted $150,000 in water for me to bring into the deal too. So I didn't do that, and this is before I knew anything about laundromats, so it's probably a good thing I didn't do that. A lot that I know now, it was too small, didn't have concrete floors, would have been so expensive to build it out, so I'm glad I didn't end up doing it. And all that brick and the old building, I don't know how that would have done in a laundromat with quite a bit of, humidity and water and moisture. Maybe it would have been fine, maybe not. But, yeah. All right, that's our story. That's what we've learned. That's the update on the property. If anybody else finds any more stuff, send it to me. Let me know. And I'm happy to get it. All right, thanks for watching. We'll be back with much more coming up.